bringing you inside the USL Championship and League One.
Segmer's got there, Marquinhos! He's been knocking on the door! He knocks it down!
Diving into all the biggest stories and top headlines.
You are ripping and roaring today.
This is USL All Access.
It's almost impossible to recreate that level of magic.
With Mike Watts and Devon Kerr on Sirius XM FC.
Welcome, everyone, to a new edition of USL All Access. A very happy Tuesday night, wherever you might be. It's a Jägermeister Cup week, the final group match week of the, shall I say group stage. There's still a ton to be decided. Devin and I are going to go through all the permutations. It's going to take many minutes. There is no guest this week because, honestly, us being in your living room on CBS means we were in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and there's a ton to chat about there. Mike Watts, Devon Kerr, Emmett McConnell at the controls. This is as busy a week as we've had in a minute, Devin. This being recorded on Monday night, approaching midnight in the East, but you're not tired yet. You've only just begun, and you're wearing League One gear. I love it.
I'm not tired yet. Yet is the key component that has to be broken down in that situation, but neither you nor I are qualified to do so because we are not able to get tired, Michael Watts. You know it's real when I start calling you by your first name, by the way.
I understand that feeling.
I wore the League One gear because I want to feel the passion coming from some of the League One squads coming into the final match day and see who can push through because I expected a little bit more. Championship's dominating Jaeger Cup, good sir, and we're going to break that down, but I feel like we should talk about the journey that was the past couple of days and what a ridiculous venue Rhode Island FC have. What an awesome community. Welcomed with open arms. The supporters groups, the podcasts, the organization, everything was top-notch. I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
so Centreville Bank Stadium opening back in May. You and I have seen it on TV plenty. I know I've called a game that's emanated from there previously, but you and I actually hadn't been in the venue. Credit to ownership and the front office for walking us through the entirety of the venue on match day. You and I walked in match day -1, and for fans who maybe don't know, when everyone shows up for these big CBS games, usually we're talking to 3, 4, 5 players from each team, coaches. Devin, of course, has the world's biggest Rolodex. So he's sort of got his eye on a handful of guys that he's met before and a couple where maybe he hasn't. For me, it's a lot of meeting people for the first time. I walked into the venue and my jaw dropped. It just felt like there was nothing that they missed. And that's pretty darn impressive. It's right up on the river. You'll note it's actually a little bit windy over by that neck of the woods. Talking with Conno Smith, it's kind of funny. He goes, maybe that's the whole state because it was that way at their makeshift venue last year. They did a phenomenal job with it. It's the little things environmentally. It's very forward thinking in terms of the lack of single-use plastic. It's the way the upper deck on the near touch line that you see on TV almost feels like it's stacked directly on top, like the noise funnels down into the field of play. It's where they put the additional video board. They just, man, that sets a bar. Like Lynn Family Stadium, you could say, is at that same general level. Rhode Island, that's a bucket lister if you follow this league.
I agree with all of that. I would take it a step further. You talk about forward thinking, right, and being environmentally conscious. I thought it was very impressive that the thought of what could be in the future for other usages for this venue, for this organization, even though it's not available right now. And what I mean by that is, and we can use Lynn Family as an example, learning experience for the Rhode Island FC group, getting an opportunity to tour it, that is the standard bearer. And I still believe that the Lynn Family Stadium is better overall. I have my own reasons for that. We can get into it if you want, but calling College Cup there in the fall of 2023, the winter of 2023, excuse me. One of the things that I thought that the venue struggled with, certainly, was dressing rooms, for instance, to the point that, and this isn't their fault, but to the point that when all of the college teams came through, 4 remaining for College Cup to be exact, Louisville City had to basically vacate all of their personal belongings. That was Danny Cruz in the dressing room in his head coaching office. That was all of the players. That's your home, you know? That is that's yours. That there is so many different things emotionally that go into that, Mike, when you establish your own position in a dressing room, and having to take that out, that's not fun. Rhode Island FC has got multiple dressing rooms and training facilities, so that regardless of sport or team that's coming through, they have the ability to, sure, they can keep the home squad there and they don't have to move anything. They also have multiple to be able to extend beyond just a game day environment. Similar type of conversation, forward thinking of putting, the chance of putting a floating floor over top of the turf combined with quality acoustics. So now you're talking about a top venue concert spot. These are things that when people look at the venue, and rightfully so, it is all about the footballing world, right? How good is it for the players? What is it like for the fans? These are the things, and certainly on the fan side, that matter most. But for the fans, in order for this to remain viable, and we have this conversation all the time, this is about sustainability. And sustainability for all of these teams, as we talk about over and over, Mike, on game day is the turnstile. That turnstile needs to continue in some way, shape, and form outside of the match in order for these teams to make money. And all the good ones do it. Colorado Springs, Louisville City, Charleston Battery, you keep going. Regardless of what the overall venue design looks like, they all find a way to continue community outreach outside of the lines. I was very impressed as the structure put forward and the ideas that are currently in place and what expansion looks like in the future coming off of that for them to continue to be able to take advantage of what is an absolutely beautiful venue.
Yeah, they did a wonderful job with it. It was interesting overhearing the political work that went into getting that done. That certainly, look, I think the average person doesn't give a rip about the financial underpinnings. I mean, it's just there's so much going on in the sport, like – to have 50 pro teams spring out of the ground over the last decade, there's got to be, to your point, it's real estate, it's working with local communities. There's a ton that goes into it to get these things accomplished. You have to show some value outside of we won the game, we lost the game, we played 17 games in our home venue. There's got to be more than that. And it was fairly fascinating hearing that through the grapevine a little bit as we were there. As far as the Rhode Island experience, I expected better from Chicken Parm in Pawtucket. I was told Providence had, the kind of Italian food that would change your life. That did not change my life. My life is unchanged. I'm the same as when I arrived. It's unfortunate.
I will agree in the sense of Italian food coming up short. However, I would say that we were warned, and there needs to be some acknowledgement given here. So, leading into this, Matt Entrikin, who, for people that don't know, he's one of the co-hosts of Raising Anchor. Great supporters group, great following, I should say, within the supporters group of Rhode Island FC, and had the opportunity to spend some time with them. An individual interview, we had some great seafood. We can get into that too. But he asked me, he said, what's your schedule look like the rest of the trip? And I told him and asked what was dinner on Friday night for us. And I didn't know right off the top of my head, so I ended up finding out, told him the establishment. He's like, yeah, okay. And he said, listen, it's a little overpriced in general. I think the quality's lacking a little bit. He gave me the scouting report. I showed it to the powers that be, the naysayers. Once again,
What a
pointed us in the
naysayer
wrong
know.
direction. Yeah, that's why, you lead with the locals, man. We should have listened. And that's not I would have listened. I would have balked in a second, right? Called the audible and headed the other direction. But
No,
I
you didn't.
also I also I also wasn't the one fronting the bill. So you don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth sometimes, right?
What are
Um
you doing with that gift horse?
Looking it in the mouth.
Oh, look.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm just following up on that. For some reason, I heard something different.
No.
You shouldn't do that with a horse either,
No. Okay.
gift or not.
Good for you. So anyway, yeah, food. I thought the seafood was great. Clear chowder. Didn't know that was a thing. New England clam chowder, cream base, Manhattan tomato base, clear chowder. Certainly chicken stock is what is there. It looks like dirty water. Tastes like heaven. I liked it a lot. Clam fritters. Who knew?
Yes.
I did not know that community was so densely populated with Portuguese immigrants, and I loved all the food.
Yeah.
It was great. They had this one, oh my goodness, the calamari and the olives on the pumpernickel. I'm getting all hot and bothered just thinking about it.
Are you a baked clams guy?
I'm pretty much eat anything when it comes to seafood, Mike.
Okay.
I as healthy as I am, I don't do well with salmon. Again, that deserves a segment of its own that will never air on this platform due to my disgust for it. But pretty much eat everything else.
Yeah.
I know you're a big coleslaw guy with your
Son of a gun.
lobster roll. Did you get a lobster roll while you were there?
I should have, but only if it had. There's the butter based and there's the mayonnaise based.
All jokes aside, I do want to say one thing. I shared this. I mentioned Matt a second ago with Raising Anchor. Anyone with any team in this league, any league in this country for that matter, but as we relate it to USL Championship and USL League One, any of the pyramid, thank you. This journey, we'll call it, needs more voices, more people involved. So to the ones like Raising Anchor, like Matt, like everybody involved within that supporters group and organization, to all of you in USL Championship, from the east to the west, title winning, bottom of the conference, as storied as it may be, or as new, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for the passion that you bring, for allowing Mike and I to come into your homes, both every single game day we get an opportunity to spend with you, as well as moments like this where we're in person. That's not an easy thing to do, to let people into your special surroundings, and certainly not ones that probably talk a little bit more about it than we do actually know. And so when we get a chance to kind of get to the foundation of all of this, the kindness that is showed to Mike and I, to any city that we've ever been in, thank you for all that you do, and keep doing what you're doing, because it's a blast for us to get to experience, and it is the only way that everybody within this sport is going to benefit and continue to grow.
I assume you're talking directly to the shirtless guy, the bottom of the upper deck, who turned around and shouted, "Devon Kerr! Devon!"
Two fists in the beers an hour before game time. I wasn't sure if I should respond or take my shirt off and go down there. I figured CBS didn't want the latter.
No. All right, let's chat about the game people actually saw on CBS here for a minute before we get to what happened afterwards. It finished 0-0. Rhode Island 15 shots, 3 on target. Hartford actually held without a shot on goal. Rhode Island 60% possession. A couple great saves from Anthony Siaha. We'll get to him in a minute. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times, to steal a line. There was enough there that I never lost the plot, and they're also, we average 7 goals per network TV game.
we were due for one, right?
It felt like it.
Yeah, selfishly, from a tactical perspective, there were fun things for me to break down, right? We got a chance to talk about it. I knew this was going to come up, and I wanted to phrase the question to you before I gave my answer. I just want a one-team answer in your opinion. Ready? Who won on the day?
Rhode
From a
Island.
performance standpoint.
For me, it's Rhode Island.
Can I ask why? Now we're past one word, but
created better chances. I
Okay.
felt Hartford was one-dimensional, especially in the first half.
got it. That's fair. My answer is Hartford. And while I don't think you're wrong, here's why I say that. Rhode Island FC are searching right now. They're searching for goals. I would say more so, Mike, they're searching for an identity within the lack of attacking prowess. Okay. Now, you and I can both agree that in general, but specifically within this game, J.J. Williams has been missed, and he was an incredible spark to this team. Can't wait to see what he does on the weekend in Jaeger Cup.
Dude,
That's a whole
JJ and Mishi coming off the bench felt like we played the first 70 minutes with our hands tied behind our backs.
For sure. But to that point, for a team that's searching, we can agree upon this. No matter what iteration we get from Rhode Island, 3-back, 5-back, 4-back, over rotation on one side. You want to play 4 in the midfield. You want to play 3 strikers. You want to play 1, get your wing backs high, play deep. It doesn't matter what it is. It rests on one thing and one thing only. And that one thing is your midfield. Plain and simple. Backline's playing well. Goalkeeping core playing well. No matter what, if that flips conversationally and the front line's doing well and the back line's struggling, all of this rests on the fact that you need good midfield play. And I'm not saying the midfield played bad. What I'm saying is the midfield for the majority of this game was removed from the conversation because of how Hartford attacked the match. They said, you know what? We don't care. We're not going to play into your hand. And I don't think it was the prettiest. It certainly wasn't the most efficient. I wanted them to be a little bit more aggressive in numbers, specifically in the first half before Rhode Island made changes to chase the game up high in their transitional moments. But they weren't going to walk into the Lions' den, man. I thought they had a better game plan overall. They said, you know what? We're going to sit deep. We're going to hold. We're going to counter. And when we reset, we are going to make you play into us. They controlled the game. Now, better chances? Absolutely. Rhode Island FC, no doubt about that. 15 shots on 3 on target still goes back to the fact that this team struggles with the worst conversion rate, speaking about Rhode Island FC, in the entire championship. Say what you want about Hartford. Ugly at times, shades of early San Antonio FC when Alan Marcina took over the 2020-21 season, late 20, early 21, where they were just super direct, physical, but effective. Not as effective as previous games. Brendan Burke probably wanted more. They got a point on the road for a team that had, 11 points in their first, 12 matches? All of a sudden, man, one loss in what is the last 4 or 5 now, off the top of my head? Too many games and players in my hand. That's why, to me, it was so much more impressive. Because talent-wise, the roster favors Rhode Island over Hartford. Venue favors the same team. And I think Hartford went in there and had a very good game plan and executed well outside of getting their goal.
All fair. These sides will meet again on Saturday in the Jägermeister Cup. In about 15 minutes, we'll chat about what that group looks like. What no one will forget is Anthony Siaha mimicking self-pleasure.
Is that the word?
On Network CBS postgame. Hands cupped to his ears, shushing the crowd.
I was fine with that part, by the way.
Joe Farrell saying postgame to our Marion Crowder that the social media posts were noticed.
Oh, yeah.
By Rhode Island.
Screenshot saved for the group chat bulletin board material.
Yup.
That's a no-no, friends.
Not great. Awesome kick save in the second half to keep the clean sheet. Tempers definitely flared. I understand why Anthony did that. It seems out of character relative to the very subdued conversation we had the day before a little bit to me. Once we got him going, he was pretty good. But it just seemed a little quiet. He was anything but quiet at the end of that game, and he galloped right off the field, shushing the entire crowd. Any additional thoughts on? You never really had a chance to talk about it. Probably
for everybody's benefit, including our contractual terms that are hanging in balance. I briefly remarked upon it when you were saying things, giving us play-by-play. Well done, by the way. I have no problem with him shushing the crowd and gesturing in that manner. I do have a problem when it turns from a very friendly Mickey Mouse G rating to the fact that that might not necessarily make the PG-13 format, right? Can't win an Oscar with an R rating, my friend.
But first thing that went through my head, because I didn't even realize it in real time, I saw the tweet. I'm like, we had like advanced AI stuff to like put graphics in over the field. We absolutely should have blurred that.
Yeah. I don't think everybody saw it in the moment is the thing. It changed quickly because he shushed about 100 times. And then,
yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah. It did make me look outside of the last gesture, what was certainly wrong, unprofessional. Unneeded might be the word to use, although if you're in the Hartford dressing room, it's fuel to the fire. I am so jealous of whomever is calling that game on Saturday, Jaeger Cup. The steam you're going to get from those two compared to what we got, and what we got was good, but that's going to be great. There is just, again, proximity, right? In terms of location, closest rivalry in USL Championship play. Those
Trinity Health Stadium, you need to put a giant banner up of Anthony Siaha doing that.
Dude, the shirts. Do you see the shirts? Beat Hartford. Hang on. I'm going to see if I can pull this up. I have screenshots from someone that will remain nameless. I don't know if we can see these. But everybody at home, that's a picture of Connecticut and Hartford, and the shirt says size matters.
I saw that floating around.
The other one says size where Connecticut is and matters for Rhode Island. Look, man, there's real emotion tied to this.
No, it's real, man.
It's real. It's real. And listen, we didn't get an opportunity because of the programming that was in front of us. We didn't get an opportunity to, at least in that small window that is 2, 3, 4 minutes, depending on the network and timing, to talk about some of the unique things. Relevant is a word that you could use. Highlighting is another one. Sparking, whatever, these clubs. I love the wording that Cano Smith used with us. And he's talked about how organic things were. He's right, man. It's the following within the community, the success of the team last year, the hope that certainly it follows again and they turn things around the rest of the way. But the hatred between the two clubs is real, and I love it. I'm here for it, man. Just they dropping a nuke right on a open flame. Let's let it fly, baby. We need more of it. Let's do it.
All right, this is USL All Access Tuesday night. Miss any part of the show available on the SiriusXM app and the USL YouTube page. When we come back, ton of news, player transfers, a handful of games with significant implications. We're going to tell you about them when we come back.
Let's get back to USL All Access on SiriusXM FC with Mike Watts and Devon Kerr.
We're back here on USL All Access. Happy Tuesday night. Mike Watts, Devon Kerr. If you're waiting for the MLS All-Star Skills Challenge coming up later tonight, in addition, you can catch the MLS All-Star Game right here on SiriusXM FC. All right, Dev, let's chat a little bit about the news around the USL Championship from the week that was. You and I recording this on Monday. For all we know, there's major news coming on Tuesday. Happened a couple weeks ago with Dom Casciato going to the Rowdies, but I digress. Corey Bennett, that's a major get for Sacramento. Came in initially through the USL ecosystem in League One, Charlotte Independence. We got to know him much better with Las Vegas Lights. 14 goals during his time there. They went and sold him to a Kuwaiti Al Nasser in January. That was a club record fee. Now he ends up in Sacramento, Devin, and the Republic are already on the upswing with Neil Collins' group starting to figure this out.
Remember the best that we saw Corey Bennett under Dennis Sanchez at Las Vegas? It was when Valentin Noel was given that freedom within the midfield, playing that 8-10 pivot, allowed him to go up high. Defensively, didn't have as much responsibility, but the way that he roamed and created space, he ended up bringing a lot of backlines with him, okay? And what I mean by that is as they tracked up, they conceded space. I always love the timing that Valentin Noel and Corey Bennett had, the way that he was able to run off defenders' back shoulders. That's one of the more difficult angles to track because you peak, and then as you come back across, that runner's already gone. You know, that split second where you're looking to see where the runner is and then tracking back to the ball, Corey Bennett established a really good rhythm with Valentin Noel. Now, obviously, Valentin Noel is not in Sacramento, but there's a guy by the name of Roro Lopez and Luis Felipe. And how many more other weapons are we going to talk about with Christian Pirano and Russell Cicerone, Michel Benitez doing well, Jack Kerr? They are starting to get a little bit of everything out of this that allows this team to have success going forward. I think this is an incredible pickup.
Let's talk about a major loss. Kyle Scott on the way out at Orange County, headed to Crawleytown. That's now a English League 2 side. They got relegated 21st place out of 24 in League 1 last year. Chelsea Academy guy, came over to the United States, initially FC Cincinnati, landed in Orange County last couple of years. Grit, ground coverage, anchor in your midfield, coverage over your center backs, which has been, unfortunately, due to injury, largely a revolving door for the last 12 months. Kyle Scott, obviously, opportunity to go back home. I think you could argue whether jumping into the League 2 side that just got relegated out of League 1 may or may not be the best move for him at this exact juncture in terms of raising the bar competition-wise. But Orange County seems pleased with it. Surely, I think Kyle Scott is as well. I hadn't played the last few weeks, so in hindsight, the writing was on the wall with this a little bit.
Would recognize also, I'll use a little bit more of alliteration off the words used, consistent. I'd argue one of the most consistent wearing an Orange County uniform during his span there, right? The addition of Stephen Kelly, I talked about right after he was picked up. The departure of Kyle Scott, while recognizing difference in profiles, this is the advancement in the midfield that Danny Stone has been looking for. Good look out of Stephen Kelly in the Monterey Bay game. Now, he was suspended for the drubbing that was the 4-0. We'll get to that in a second. But lose a little bit, gain a little bit. Gain a little bit higher up in the pitch. I like the grit from Stephen Kelly. Cannot replace the defensive prowess that was Kyle Scott.
Minnesota United making a move. They've sent an attacking midfielder, former English youth national teamer Samuel Shishoa to Birmingham. 6 appearances in MLS this year. He came out of La Liga 2 before coming to the States. He played a bit in the next pro side in Minnesota. This is yet another move to bolster that roster within the construct of Mark Briggs already had more or less the shopping already done for the year.
I would also add that this is the type of player who, just look at the systems and not numbers on the back line of the midfield, but how they like to attack the games. This is something that's going to be very familiar for Samuel Shishoa. Eric Ramsey in Minnesota United, he's used him in such a wide variety of places, Mike. Central midfield, whether they're sitting in that triangular shape, he pops them out wide a little bit. Mark Briggs does that for a lot of his players, especially the way that he likes to move through the midfield and under the attacking line. Not necessarily sure where he fits into the depth chart just because of the lack of overall reps with Minnesota United's first team. Just one start on the year for that team in all competitions. So is it going to be enough in terms of consistency of performance for him to push into the 11? Could be. Certainly could be. I've seen him play. He's clean on the ball. Just don't know exactly what level you're going to get right away. And your hope is that you've got confidence from the manager to help push a young player along. But that's a very different environment than what he's going to be used to.
All right, Colorado Springs making an addition. They've already had a goalkeeper called back from loan earlier in the year. They bring in Adam Beaudry from the Rapids. Zach Steffen returned from injury 2-3 weeks ago. back in the Rapids lineup. It makes Beaudry somewhat expendable for the moment. Played in the CONCACAF under-20s last year. Stevie Hogan quoted in the press release, he'll challenge our goalkeeping core right away. I don't know that there's a settled number one. I don't know that Beaudry is actually going to come push for it, but they are going to have him come in there and find out.
I am expressing an opinion when I say this, that I don't believe there is a settled number one. I don't think that's the worst thing, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They had a loanee earlier this year that started off the season pretty well prior to the recall, and Romero. Herrera had to fight then. Quality started off. I mean, if you look at what the run of results is, I'm going to look down and just read you. This is all competitions, by the way. So you keep the shutout against Birmingham, concede to Louisville, New Mexico, San Antonio, Lexington. Oakland, you shut out against two teams that haven't exactly lit it up. Then New Mexico, Orange County, they've just been conceding. Conversation for Colorado Springs is actually quite similar to Louisville and Charleston Battery. More so the Charleston Battery. It's not that they're poor defensively. They just can't keep a clean sheet. Mm-hmm. And as much movement as you've had on the back line, eventually you're going to have to tighten those things up. I like the idea. Beaudry can handle it, man. He's got 36 or 37 reps at the pro level. He's no stranger to wearing the starting sweater.
No. Interested to see how that plays. All right. Meanwhile, tough news out of New Mexico. Daniel Bruce, been around this league a long time, obviously has our respect. He's going to miss the rest of the season. They haven't announced the exact nature of the injury, but season ender announced on Wednesday last week. All right, Dev, let's chat about a couple games from the week that was. ESPN2 had a match before our CBS game. They get far less airtime. They had the exact same result. It was at Keyworth on Friday night. Pittsburgh and Detroit finished precisely 0-0. It's one win in 10 dating back to May 3rd in the league for Detroit. Pittsburgh and Detroit each had 10 shots in this game. They both find nothing. Pittsburgh only one loss in their last 7, I might add. Anything to add there? We good?
I'm good. I think you encompassed everything that was the game.
All right. Look, I don't think anyone thought that Louisville and Tulsa would be as big a game at this stage of the year as it turned out to be. Cameron Lancaster, first goal in purple in this stint, of course, 90+2. Of course it was Cam. It was always going to be Cam, Devin. It was always going to be Cam. Khalil El Medkar turns around and scores at 90+5. It was always going to be Khalil, Devin. It was always going to be Khalil.
You're so ridiculous.
1-1 draw. Tulsa ekes out a point with that late stoppage time equalizer. Luke Spencer, that was his return to Louisville. They absorbed 23 shots. They only had 35% of the ball. Combined, however, with the 2-1 win over Monterey Bay on Wednesday, Devin, Tulsa is in first place in the Western Conference.
Yeah, we've already seen kind of a changing of the guard in the West. I would still say that due to games in hand, that's going to be a race till the end, for sure. The race in the East is a different conversation, and the players.
Let's give this result here then. Charleston bludgeoning Miami 3-0. Joey Appononu's first goal. Icaza and Arturo Rodriguez both scored 2. Miami didn't have a shot. Expand their lead in the East to 3 points, but Louisville's got a game in hand. Two-parter. First, I can say this. Every year I say if the deficit is bigger than the games remaining, you've got a problem. Loudoun is in third. They are now 14 back of Charleston with 13 to play. That's the context of this thing getting out of hand. So, 2-horse race. Nothing is decided between Louisville and Charleston. Absolutely nothing. Until 2 weeks from now.
Get in there, baby.
The witching hour.
Can I tell you the thing that I recognized in the moment, but I think it's escaped me based upon the way things have played out? I'm looking at both teams' schedules right now. Louisville's got Lexington, right, on the weekend for Jaeger Cup.
Yep.
And then one league game, home versus North Carolina. That's one of those top 4s that we were talking about, right? Charleston only plays a Jaeger Cup game against the Rowdies.
They could be tied on points and games.
Goodness.
And the head-to-head tiebreaker Louisville won in March.
2-1.
Could be decided then. So let's call it a 4-point game. It is a 4-point game. It's a 7-point game.
Can we get the weekend off and go?
Absolutely not. Before we go to break, Dev, couple other results. Orange County murders 10-man Las Vegas 4-0, 17 shots to 4. Zubac, notably not Nico Benalcazar, but damn it, it is Ethan Zubac. Dogman, War, and Hagart. Pearson got sent off with a red in the 38th. All right. North Carolina continue to impress. 4-2 win over Indy in Cary. It's Metziger and then Cervania, Conway, and Dolabella. Indy, Penn late makes it look a little bit better. Biggest win of Oakland season, arguably. 2-0 over Loudoun at Segra. Hackshaw 22nd. Peter Wilson 27th. All right, when we come back, the Jaeger Cup. Final group matches, still a ton to be decided. Devin already went on Galazzo and blew his whole missile on this. He's going to repeat it as soon as we come back.
Giving insight to all the biggest moments in Championship and League One. This is USL All Access on Sirius XM FC with Mike Watts and Devon Kerr.
USL All Access on this Tuesday night. Miss a part of the show. I don't know why you'd watch it again or listen to it, but it's on the Sirius XM app, the USL YouTube page. Devin is carrying around Rhode Island's most notable anthropomorphic seal, Chip. This PA announcer at Rhode Island, this dude, he's got some gravel in his voice.
Yep.
When he says Chip, I'm like, oh my God, there's Chip.
You know what it reminds me of? What's not necessarily the voice, but the gravitas, if you will. What's Allen's last name? My Minnesota guy who does every Super Bowl.
Roach.
Oh, dude.
Alan Roach.
Here's
Chip, the anthropomorphic seal bobblehead. Does it get your seal of approval?
I would say it's signed, sealed, delivered.
All right. Let's
Someone needs to either take the microphone away or stop giving us children because these jokes are terrible.
I know. Look, here's one thing we have not gotten any gifts from yet. The Jägermeister Cup.
Boom.
Devin, you said it. I think we've officially been refuted. On paper, it looks like 30 of the 38 teams can get through. It's not quite that simple. Is the number 24? Is that right?
The number is apparently 24. It seems like we need someone from MIT to help out with the
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, even then, some of these teams need a win and a lot of goals because that's the first tiebreaker to get through to grab a wild card spot. They need a lot of help. Top 6, being the 6 group winners, are going through. The next 2 point getters, then tiebreakers on goals scored. Those are your wild cards. The final is Saturday, October 11th. This week, final group stage matches. Every team plays 4. Some teams have played 4. We'll get to that. Dev, let's chat about Group 1. Las Vegas, 9 points, 7 goals scored. But they are done. So, Sacramento, 6. Monterey Bay, 6. Las Vegas destroyed Sacramento, didn't play Monterey Bay. Monterey Bay didn't play either of them, so no head-to-head tiebreaker should they win. Spokane hosts Sacramento.
Hang on.
Monterey Bay.
Flip 1. Sac destroyed Vegas. That's important.
Correct.
There you go.
Correct. So if Sacramento wins against Spokane,
there you go.
Head-to-head with Vegas, they go through. Anything less, Las Vegas goes, okay, let's see what happens with Monterey Bay. Then Monterey Bay will play Alta, and we'll see how it ends. Neither League One team can go through. Both can blow the whole thing up. Anything to add?
I think the fun one for me here is I kind of snarled at it a little bit, to be honest, in terms of the tiebreakers. You go from, real quick, while we recognize it's goals for when it comes to wild card, if you stay within group play, head-to-head, let's assume that Sac loses and Monterey wins. Vegas and Monterey didn't play each other, so they draw on points, right, at 9. They would have the first tiebreaker is head-to-head earned. Well, that doesn't exist. Total wins, they'd be the same there. Then you go to goals for. So that's the one that everybody's been talking about. Recognize you get 3-4 down the totem pole here in group play, but you're at goals for. So They got to win by 3 goals.
3. Well, they need to score 3 and win.
Well, it doesn't matter either way. Win by 3.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Oh, understanding winning no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, winning no matter what. But I was like, the goals against thing, but it wouldn't matter because if you get more than they scored, we're rewarding poor defensive play.
Indeed. Phoenix knows all about that. 10
Let's
scored,
get it.
10
Let's
against.
do it.
Group 2 comes down to San Antonio and New Mexico. This straight up in San Antonio Saturday night. New Mexico wins. San Antonio at 9 points still have a chance at the wild card. Only 4 goals scored for them. So they've impaled themselves despite the 3 wins they've gotten by only scoring 4. San Antonio through with a win or a draw.
Thought Phoenix had a chance here, by the way, with the wild card. Burned it on the penalty kick result. And you have to feel that with momentum in league play for San Antonio and the ability to go perfect in the tournament overall, it's got positive thoughts on their side, right?
Yep.
Moving on.
Let's go to Group 3. Again, winning in. Indy or Birmingham could have ended this. Alas, Indy on 8, Birmingham on 7. Birmingham hosts Madison. Indy hosts Tulsa. So for Indy, win and you're in by virtue of winning the penalty kick shootout against Birmingham last month. Birmingham could go and get some help there from Tulsa. They could also finish on 10 points and have a chance at the wild card.
What do we think in terms of lineup FC Tulsa is going to do here? Have you thought about that? Listen, the reason I say it for people at home, mathematically, they're not eliminated, but 7 points is not great, and they've got Loudon.
Probably not going to do anything for you.
No, and they've got Loudon on what you would call a short week on the Friday match. So it's not exactly a Wednesday, and you're on 2-3 days rest. It is still one less day to prepare. And they have to travel home from Indy. So I do sort of wonder what the rotation looks like within the lineup. My hope is that they're going to give it a go. I'm sure that Indy feels the same way.
Yeah, I will say this. Tulsa doesn't give you anything. Even if they don't play your best lineup, this iteration
you got to work
Tulsa,
for it.
You're going to have to work for it.
And Indy's been inconsistent. Even though we saw some goals on the weekend, it feels like defensively they're perfect. They open it up attacking-wise. They haven't really gelled on both sides of the ball yet.
Yeah. Group 4 is going to be decided head-to-head. Anthony Siaha will surely start in goal. Hartford and Rhode Island in Pawtucket. Second week in a row. They'll decide this mano-a-mano, gesture-y gesture. Hartford win and go through. Draw and the shootout doesn't matter because of the 2-point gap. Rhode Island would go in. The extra point, however, would potentially be crucial for the wild card because you could still get through on 9 points if you're Hartford.
I would go a step further and say that if Hartford gets the second-place team that gets to 9 points, whether via Hartford beating Rhode Island or
Hartford
winning in Pens, 9 points goes through, in my mind. I just can't see any other scenario, Mike. Recognizing what's going on in Group 1, I don't see it in 2, don't see it in 3. 5 starts to get a little interesting, but then you're keeping Loudon, which we're going to get to. Let's assume they lose, and that's the North Carolina squad. I think 9 points gets you through. I do. Then it does bring up the scenario of the wild card team not playing a group winner.
Oh, boy. All right, get to that in 1 minute. Group 5, Loudon win and in, or draw with a PK shootout win over North Carolina FC in Cary. If they stumble, Louisville on 6 could go through with a win in Lexington. If both fumble the bag, Charlotte has a chance if they beat Richmond. Loudon, North Carolina is on Friday. So everyone in that group's going to know the answer Friday night. Louisville would play a lineup meant for a friendly if they can't go through.
They've got a friendly just after it, too.
There.
And the Eintracht Frankfurt game. Danny's going to get a Christmas bag early, my friend. I don't believe Charlotte will do it. I'm doing that just based on historical value within that rivalry. I think North Carolina will beat Loudon.
Yeah.
Especially, and this is something we should have talked about at the beginning of the show. Do we smell a transfer coming in Loudon with Abdulatif Abukora?
He just hasn't been around in a couple weeks.
That has nothing to do with insider information.
We had him on the show.
Yep.
Nothing came up about it. Nothing.
And he could just be hurt. He did have a knock going into that. Help me. Who did they play on national television?
2-2.
Pittsburgh, 2-2. Never could have convinced me there was 4 goals in that game. He did have a knock going into that game. And it was precautionary. He was left out. Could have re-injured it in training. Left out again. Or their prized asset, positionally unavailable. Better safe than sorry for the run-in.
Oh. Just asking. Just asking.
I like North Carolina. I'm on that train, man.
I know you are.
They don't complicate the game. Like, it's just, it's clean. It's simple. The heart wants what it wants, Michael.
It wants, how about North Carolina FC? Group 6.
When I say your first name, do you turn around and look for your son?
Yeah, exactly.
Attaboy.
Tampa Bay, baby.
Not at this hour.
Devin called it. Win in Charleston, they go through. That's it. Easier said than done. Lose, open the door to Greenville, who hosts Naples. If both lose, the Miami FC, or even, yes, South Georgia Tormenta, who are on 4 points with 6 goals scored, could still go through. Wild card, let's be honest, probably takes 9 points.
Yeah.
Group 6 is a wet, unmitigated disaster.
I love it. And I love the essence of Brendan Burke you're bringing to this show. You know, there's one thing I didn't take into account for the Rowdies run into this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a mistake, and it's my fault, and I'm sorry. I didn't take into account, with all the schedule congestion and who was playing who, that Charleston has 2 weeks off from league play.
Brutal.
And specifically 2 weeks. Sorry, not even league play. They have almost a month off from league play. It's like 21 days. 31 days? Yeah. They have exactly 14 days in between the Rowdies Jaeger Cup game and the game at Louisville. They're going to play a strong lineup.
Just saying.
Got that wrong.
All right, real quick, Golazo did the draw for the quarterfinals already. Wild cards have to be away in the first round, cannot play the winner of their respective groups. So, real quick, Group 5 winner, Group 1 winner. That means Loudoun, Louisville, or Charlotte most likely would host Vegas, Sacramento, or Monterey. Group 4 winner, Hartford or Rhode Island host Wild Card 1, which could be Hartford or Rhode Island, but they can't play each other. They'd probably exchange the wild cards. Group 6, Tampa Bay, Greenville, Miami, or South Georgia Tormenta hosting Group 3 winner. That's Indy or Birmingham. Group 2, San Antonio or New Mexico will host the second wild card. Lit. When we come back, the bobblehead that isn't an anthropomorphic seal that Men in Blazers like, does Devin like it? We wrap it up after this.
You're listening to USL All Access on Sirius XM FC. Here are your hosts, Mike Watts and Devon Kerr.
We're back on USL All Access, closing it out on this Tuesday night. One game on Sirius XM FC from the championship this week. Oakland, Orange County from the Coliseum, 4 Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on Saturday. Listen to it right here on the channel. All right, Dev, Men in Blazers tweeted it out. Oakland roots, Billy Joe Armstrong bobblehead. Yay or nay?
It's great from about the waist down, and that sounds weird, but the waist up, he looks like he belongs in NSYNC.
It sounds like he's singing Oasis with that face. And the new Lexington Ice Goals kit. Yay or nay?
Nay. Looks like they're playing for Johan Cedergren at the University of Kentucky. I stick with the orange one. I want the bourbon kit all day long.
Devin, did you learn anything from this show?
I learned that, in fact, it is possible for us to be more loopy than normal when we do the show in the middle of the night. Maybe we're on to something here.
Yep, that'll happen. And I've got 9 seconds. I watched Devin with Maxi Rodriguez on the field after everyone had left the venue, and it's moments like that that make me understand why he's the most respected analyst in American soccer right now. For Devin, Emmett, Mike, we'll talk to you again next Tuesday night. So long, everybody.
This is USL All Access. If you missed any portion of the program, listen back anytime on the SXM app.